gum.
I had no idea that there were so many flavors of Pop-Tarts. I mean, I'd never seen so much in my life. You know, you get to looking around at all of them, but I'm thinking, no, I'm just going to stick with my two childhood favorites that have lasted with me. Still today, I love a Pop-Tart, and that is brown sugar and cinnamon and cherry. You know, I'm going to remake this Pop-Tart with that really good
Those are good flavors.
crust that I want on it with a nice filling, and you're not going to spend...
I would say probably brown sugar is definitely a go-to, like, goated flavor. Strawberry. I think I like strawberry a little better than cherry.
All day in the kitchen making it. Whew, this is a really big day because not only do I love a Pop-Tart, but Meiji love a Pop-Tart too, and he got a haircut today, so he's looking awful sharp. But folks, this is really simple. It is. We're going to start with 2 cups of flour, and you need to make sure that it is pretty precise measurement. So we're going to rake that off there.
You usually don't do precise.
I know, but baking needs to be precise. And I told you,
Yes,
it's 3 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of sugar. What else we got? A teaspoon of salt. Somebody asked me the other day, said, are your hand measurements pretty precise? Me and Shan did a little deal one time where I'd pour it out there, she'd measure. We was pretty close. Take your whisk. Now, if you're doing this in the house, and you've got one of them fancy mixers that's got a dough hook on it, it makes this process a whole lot easier. You know this is going to be good when what?
Forever.
It calls for 2 sticks of butter. This is my kind of deal. Them have been in the freezer chilling, so we just going to get them down here and grate them in there because that way it makes it really a whole lot easier to incorporate this butter
Yes, sir.
into that flour. So bear with me a minute. We'll try not to get no knuckle fingers in there and keep the hide out of it. So on a ranch one time up in Kansas, they had a really young crew. One of them kids about 14. He didn't know the etiquette of being around the wagon. He didn't know you're supposed to not ask the cook what you were having for breakfast. Come in there and he said, you know, I'd really like for you to fix me a Pop-Tart. Old man told him, you don't never ask the cook what he's cooking. He got up in line. He didn't like eggs, didn't like gravy, didn't like biscuits. So I had to go to town late that evening. So I picked up
Who don't like
a box of
biscuits and
Pop-Tarts.
gravy?
The next morning, I put them Pop-Tarts in a Dutch oven. Them old timers come up there and I said, let's bless it and let's eat. They opened the lid on that Dutch oven and seen them Pop-Tarts. A lot of them old fellers didn't know what they was. They actually thought that I'd made them. That kid smiled big as Fort Worth, he did. He said, you have cooked my favorite meal. I said, son, I didn't cook them and we're probably not gonna be having them but today, so you better enjoy.
I love this guy. Kent,
Key to this too
Cowboy
is
Kent Rollins.
cold butter. Now, you can keep it really refrigerated, but I like to chill it, like I say, in that freezer, let it set up good, because that's really what's gonna make a great pastry dough. To me, it's sort of like a puff pastry when you get it made, but not near the work. So let me get this butter incorporated in there. You want it sort of like a cracker crumb consistency. So bear with me.
Yeah, more butter you add, the more flaky it gets.
Well, time for the ice water it is. I got 1/3 of a cup here. We're gonna fill it up once. I don't want you to just pour it right in the middle. I just want you to sort of pour it around the outside edges. Now, when we first put that little dab of water in there, I want you to go ahead and mix it up just a tad, because we're looking for really a shaggy dough on this the way we get started. And I could give you the exact measurements for how much water it is, but folks, it's gonna vary from where you live to where I'm at. Everything gets different in the world. You'll see the consistency that we're after here in a minute. So this is gonna equal 2/3 of a cup. You can see how things have begun to clump together a little and make a little dough ball there, but I'm pretty sure we need to add a little more water because we can always add some flour to it. So we're gonna go about half of that 1/3 cup, put it in there. Now comes a really good time for you to flour your hands.
Oh, you gonna
Don't do
mold
this
it?
in the kitchen floor. Shen gets so mad when I do it in the kitchen floor. Take your hands, just like
bet
when
she
an eagle
does.
you seen flying down on, he gonna swoop down in that water and catch that trout. Get your eagle claws ready. And just keep balling that dough up, bringing it together. And you can see It's pretty sticky, but we just gonna keep working it here a minute till we get that flour incorporated, and things will be good.
Hey, he's probably ancient, dude. That dog looks like he's
folks,
like
this is
13
my
years
arch
old.
nemesis right here. How many of you out there barn builders worked on a windmill? Every time you get ready to do that, what happened? Wind blow 30, 40 mile an hour. Look around, Shan.
You worked on a windmill.
The breeze is not blowing yet. Saran wrap has dealt me misery for so many years. Put it down on your board if you have to. Tuck them edges under there. Now, we're gonna put this dough down here. We're not gonna roll it out yet, but I wanna try to get it in more of a square shape. Just mash this just a tad. We're gonna cover it up here with this good plastic wrap.
I need to bake one
And
of
folks,
his meals.
I need you to chill this for at least 30 minutes, but I prefer an hour. But if you get busy, you can chill this plum overnight and you'll be ready to go. So I'm gonna put it in the ice box and I'll meet y'all back. This has been chilling about an hour, so we're gonna unwrap it. And I'm gonna tell you this, if you're working in the house or you're doing this and it's pretty warm outside, go ahead, take your knife, cut it right in half.
Okay.
So we're just gonna work half of this at a time. Lay this half out there. I'm gonna put this half back over here in the Yeti so it can stay chilled till we get ready for it. Pardon me, Lulu.
Out of the way, Lulu.
So we're gonna get us some flour on the board. We're gonna roll this out to 1/8 of an inch thick. Now, when you're rolling, I like to roll one way, and then I like to turn it over and roll the other way. There it is, 1/8 of an inch. That is 14 gnat bristle
got it
whiskers.
flat.
If you've ever measured them, that makes 1/8 of an inch. So, we have got it in pretty good shape. I'm just gonna square these edges up. And speaking of Pop-Tarts, look who just showed back up into camp. It is the Schnauzer. And he does love a Pop-Tart. This is the perfect size box to make this as a guide, Duker. We're gonna lay it right on this edge. Cut it out.
Very nice. Man, he's probably got a
We're gonna put
homemade
it
filling
right
he's gonna put
here,
inside
Duker,
of it.
for the time
Some
being.
strawberry
Come on
jam.
across there. If you're making these at home and you don't want to use a box, do a 3x5. Now, if you're making this, half of that dough is what we use, so the whole thing is going to make about 8 Pop-Tarts. So, what do we got here? Cherry preserves. We're just talking like about a tablespoon.
Cherry filling.
We're just going to rake her in there. And then we're going to take this knife. Now, when you're doing this, you can spread it out however you want, but keep it about, I'd say at least 1/4 to 1/2 inch away from the sides and the end. And then we're just going to take this other half. Make sure all your sides match, okay? Put them right here on top of this one. Take your fork. We want to crimp it really good, so mash it hard. We don't want any of our filling to run out. You can use any filling you want. Preserves, cherry, apple, strawberry, peach, whatever you want to put in them.
Peach sounds so good.
So now it is time for the brown sugar cinnamon, which is a popular, they say, at the Pop-Tart factory. So what I did was take 4 tablespoons of butter, get it melted in there on low heat. Then I added brown sugar, then I added a little bit of flour, then I added some cinnamon. Stir that up over low heat till it sort of begins to, I don't want it to be a caramel, I want it to be more like it'll nearly stay on the spoon, about like that. Now, if you get it too thick and you need to thin it, just add you a little bit of cream or a little bit of water and you'll be in fine shape. Put about a tablespoon of this right here.
Yes, sir.
Give it a
Put
little
that on
spread.
there.
If you had you some chopped pecans and put in there, it'd be just fine too.
Oh. Man, you should have done that. Those are going to be good. He's going to put that in the Dutch oven.
When you put them together like that, got the filling in there, take you a fork and prick you some holes in each one of them, which lets the steam escape out of there so your dough don't break apart as it is breaking and rising a little. So I'm gonna cut me some parchment paper the same size as that Dutch oven. I'm gonna egg wash these here, lay them in there in that parchment paper. I'm gonna cook them on the fire because it is Pop-Tart time.
Dutch oven time.
Well, if you're cooking these in the house, remember you've preheated that oven to 375 degrees. It's going to take you about 20 minutes. Just watch it there till they get golden brown. But right there at the end, all you got to do is mix up a really simple icing, which is just a little powdered sugar, a little heavy cream, a little almond extract. Really goes good with that cherry. But if you want to leave it out there and use vanilla, that is fine too. Just brush it on there right there at the last. Let it just cook about 5 minutes more. That icing will set up. Take them out, put them on a wire rack, let them cool. We're going to eat them. Now, when we're placing these on the Dutch oven to cook them, there's pretty heavy coals around the outside, and I'd say sort of light on top, because we really want that bottom to brown. And this is really a good beginner dish, because when you get these made, you can take the lid off of them, get you a fork, flip that edge up to where you can see under there. That way you'll know, is it just right, a little more browning, or did you go too low?
See, I like how he gives you tips too whenever he's cooking the meal, so you know how to do it. Man, he needs like his own Food Network show. Oh, yeah.
Now, if you're cooking these in a Dutch oven, I ended up checking that bottom and took it off the bottom heat because they were as brown as I was wanting them to be. Put a little icing. Make sure you get them things out there and let them set on a wire rack until they're cooled, because that stuff will stick to the roof of your mouth better than polygrip stick to dentures, and you won't never get it off. These have been cooling a little.
That
I
was
think first I'm gonna go
oldest man
with the cherry.
phrase I've
You see
ever
all that
heard.
good looking filling in there? Can you hear that crunch?
Yeah,
That is the
yeah, I
star
can.
of the show, and that is the crust. Make you want to break down. Do
Yeah,
the
get it.
Pop-Tart
Get it,
shuffle.
kid.
That's so good. Brown sugar and cinnamon.
That looked gooey.
Yeah, and that's what you like, ain't it, Lulu?
That looks killer.
I'm just going to tell the Pop-Tart people up there, wherever they're from, at Kellogg's or whoever it is, you better go with this recipe and this recipe. You'll sell out quicker.
Do you have a favorite?
I think if I was having breakfast, I would go with the cherry. If I was having lunch and this was dessert after it's set out there just a minute, I would go with this. You can't go wrong, and
Yeah, this
remember,
looks
you
like
can
a
put
good
any kind of
dessert
filling
after,
you
like,
want
a
in
dinner
these. Had some
or
really
lunch.
good help today, didn't I, Mage? And everybody loves pie dough. Mage has been out here helping the longest, so he gonna get the first bite. Duggar, can you stand up for it? He said, no, it's not cheese. Lou, I can't even see where you're at. Good girl. Everybody got a bite. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this as much as I do, because this is really one of my favorite things to eat if I'm going down the road or anywhere else. But hey, you see me checking that with that lid lifter? If you're doing some Dutch oven cooking, be sure you get one of these, because this thing holds the lid so well, you're not going to drop it. You're not going to lose none of them coals. You can look on our website. They are sure there. But it is with great pride and honor and privilege that I tip my hat to all the servicemen and women and all the veterans that have kept that old flag a flying over camp. We commend you all. Rest of you get up in here pretty close now. Come on. Tell you what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to let you sniff of this Pop-Tart as I run it by you and give you a hug. God bless you, each and every one, and I'll see you down
What a
the
guy.
Pop-Tart Trail. Folks, look here. Banana bread Pop-Tarts, chocolate chip.
Yeah, they got all
I mean,
kinds of
I didn't even know they
insane
made this kind of
flavors.
Pop-Tarts.
Strawberry milkshake?
Yeah.
Apple Jacks? Like,
I mean, when I was little, you had two kinds, the brown sugar cinnamon and cherry. That was it. So Pop-Tarts is stepping up their game.
Ooh. Yeah, we gotta check out the cowboy casserole now.
That's so good.
Okay, but now give me your line. Can you stop for a second so you can do the line? You have to like stop so we can do the intro.
It's
Let
a
him
cowboy
eat.
casserole. It's the best thing in the world. They can wait just a minute till I get through eating. I never get to eat. This is the easiest, best cowboy approved casserole you're ever gonna make.
Oh, yeah. I can't eat eggs, though.
Comfort food, that's what I'm talking about. And this is what I call a cowboy
Got egg
casserole
allergy.
that I have
No
fixed
eggs,
on
I'm
so many ranches as a
golden.
noon meal. I've had so many compliments on this saying, hey, it's probably the best thing ever. But folks, it is a one-pot meal, pretty easy to put together. And if you're a beginner Dutch oven cook, I would recommend you cook this first because it is oh so easy. Ground beef, corn, some vegetables coming up through there. Whew. Oh, so good with biscuits on top.
Yes,
Got
sir.
a 12-inch Dutch oven up here on
I love
Bertha,
biscuits.
getting hot. And if some of y'all don't know who Bertha is, this is Bertha, the second love of my life, especially in the wintertime. She'll keep you warm, but in the summer, you'll never have to shave your legs. She'll burn it off.
It's a nice wood oven.
2 pounds,
You probably-
80-20 ground
Oh,
chuck.
that's a whole
Maybe there'll be a sizzle in there,
the
and there he
cooking's
is.
wood oven.
That's what we're
He
after.
made that.
Just get that chopped up a little. I have fixed this on ranches, like I said, so many times, and sometimes I'd even fix it twice or 3 times when we was out there because we'd be in like 4 weeks, and the menu would change. Sometimes, like today, it's got corn in it. Sometimes it'd have black-eyed peas in it because that's what I had left. Sometimes it'd be beans. Sometimes it'd be hominy. It's a very versatile recipe. We'll get this browned up, and when it gets about 3/4 brown,
Is that
we'll
his
add
own
us some
seasoning?
onion.
His face is on his seasoning. I gotta check out the Kit Rollins store. That looks awesome. Oh, there he is again. He's always hanging out.
So this is one pretty big honking yellow onion. It is.
That's the word I say, honking.
We want to get it in there, let it get some of that beef flavor into it.
If it's real big, you say
Now, a typical lunch menu
honking.
like this, sure, we would come in there and I'd fix a dessert ahead of time, maybe some brownies or a chocolate cake. Then I'd have this. I'd have them guys fixed up.
That's such a cool setup.
Most campsites I was ever in, my stove was a little unlevel at times. Sometimes it can pay off. You can see how this grease that's drained out of this meat is over here to one side. I just like to pull all that meat up here, get it on the uphill side. We'll let that grease drain down there to the bottom because we need to get all of it out of there that we can. We'll dip that out,
Make it a
go
gravy
on with the
with that?
process. And I need to get me some of this meat because this is sort of a layered dish it is. Well, I'm gonna take half of this out. That'll leave me a plenty in there for that. Level this out a little on the bottom that you can. Can of cream of mushroom soup. If it'll come out of there, a whole can. Mix it in with that meat. Now we'll level it back out one more time.
You got some heavy whipping
Just to
cream on
make
the
sure
side
that it
with
sort
that?
of looks right. Remember I told you I put everything in here vegetable wise, from black-eyed peas to corn to hominy, but
Yeah.
today I
What
asked
you putting in?
Shan, and she said she really loved cream corn more than she loved corn. Now, if you're going to put cream corn in this, you're probably going to have to add a little flour to this to thicken this back up, but we're
Yeah.
going to put a whole half a can in there, which is about that much. Give it a stir. You can see that consistency to me needs to be a little thicker, so we're going to give it a little flour. It'll help thicken things back up.
So if you did that if you just had corn, you wouldn't need to do that?
Now, if you drain the water off the corn, you probably wouldn't have to do it. We got her pretty well to the consistency I want. Let's try to get us a layer of sour cream around there on it without disturbing too much stuff. So
Just a little bit.
if you have to, you can do it in dollops, then spread it a little. You know, the first ranch I ever fixed this on was south of Abilene, Texas. And there was 2 old men that were just as old-fashioned as they could be. The fly of the wagon would be there, but they wouldn't come under it.
You know what I'll say that I really like about his videos is there's a lot of lore attached to the meals he's cooking. He'll tell you a little story about one of the times he made that specific meal. This is pretty dope.
Till it was time to eat, or you ask them to come under it. Then they'd get their plate of food and they'd go back outside. But I remember hearing one of them say, he done fixed something like some kind of pot pie like my grandma used to make. I bet it's gonna be pretty good. Well, he come to me after the meal, and they was a man of few words. And he told me this: that dog will hunt right there, and that'll work. If you want to make that every day this week, you got my permission.
This is just wholesome.
Some cheddar cheese. Oh, the bottom of that is hot. Give us a good sprinkling around here. And then next we're going to add the meat back to it. We're going to spread this out best we can. We're going to top that with what's remaining of this sour cream. This was an 8-ounce little container it was, and we're going to try to get it all in there. You remember that half a can of cream corn? Let's just sprinkle her right there on top.
Oh, yeah. You would need some flour. That's going to make it runny.
We've got our layers of meat, sour cream, and corn, and one more layer of cheese goes right here. Then I'm going to meet y'all over at the chuck box, and I'm going to show you how we're going to finish it before we bake it. Now I have topped this off with a lot of ingredients I have, from sourdough biscuits to buttermilk biscuits to some kind of pizza crust. But hey, I'm in a hurry. Sometimes I'm in a bind. What am I going to use?
Love a canned biscuit.
What do you call them?
There's nothing
Whack
wrong
'em.
with that.
Yep, Whack-'em biscuits. Now, y'all don't get down on me. I have made more biscuits than the law allows, but I really like it to have a pop in it. You can give them just a little mash to seat them down in there really well, because they're going to try to jump out of there.
Man,
You
it's
see,
got
is
the
this
little
one gonna
butter
pop?
chunks in them. Canned biscuits
Ain't
are
going to do her,
good.
Duker. Woo!
Oops.
Duker said it got close, and I'd use 2 cans of biscuits all the time, so we're going to see how many we can get in there on this, because I do love me some biscuits. Now, if you're making this at home, you could do it in a 12-inch cast iron skillet or a 9x13 casserole pan. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. We're going to give it a little garlic powder.
Oh, yeah.
But to that, I like to put a little top of black pepper on them biscuits. I think it makes them taste much better. If y'all will
Gotta
meet me
season
over
your
at Old Bertha, I'm
biscuits.
going to put it on trivet and get it to cooking.
He's got some good music on this video, on his videos too.
You know, this is really one of the easiest dishes that you can fix in a Dutch oven, because the meat has been browned, it is done. Everything else that we're going to put in there, we've got low heat around the bottom to where it's just going to sit there and simmer, but it's going to bring up enough juices there, it's going to soften them biscuits on the bottom, melt that cheese on the inside, but the top layer of heat that we put on there is going to cause them biscuits to rise just a little, but melt that cheesy goodness on top. Now we're talking about cold placement, and sure, I'm on a tall trivet, we are, but it's right around the outside edge of that trivet, not directly under that Dutch oven. I'd say it was a medium heat on bottom, and then we loaded up the top. I'd say medium as well. No wind today, so we're probably not going to have to rotate much. You know, we'll check this periodically, but you don't have to do much checking to it, because you'll see that go to simmering and bubbling from the bottom up. But we're really wanting them biscuits to rise up a little and get brown on top.
Nice.
One thing about this dish that you need to remember too, if you're cooking it in a shallow 12, and you're going to be pretty close to the top of them biscuits with the top of them coals you are. You get to looking, you got this much room. That's 1.1695 inches to burning biscuits. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll probably end up having to rake some coals off the top, but hey, you don't want to burn a biscuit.
Oh, it's boiling. I can see it crisping up at the top real quick, but it looks like some of them are soft. Yeah, you gotta slow cook them down. The dogs are back. Oh man. Got no eggs in it, I can eat that.
What I'm expecting now is to look around the corner, 12, 15 cowboys come riding up to camp because this was one of their most favorite meals that I cook for lunch every time. Now, I did change the heat a little.
Man.
Had to rearrange it there on the top to move them coals around the outside edge because we was like this close to the top of them biscuits to get them outer ones to go ahead and brown. But then you take it off over here and be sure you let it cool. It'll set up better. It'll come out of the pan better. It's been since, about 2002 since I've actually fixed this for a cowboy. So, Shan,
Wow,
I'm going to
that's
call
a
me and
long
you
time
major
ago.
cowboys today.
Ooh.
Well, Lou came running up, she heard.
I'm going to go over one more.
Do a dance.
Celebration.
Good. Oh.
Good times.
Oh, you had it backwards.
Look, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this just for y'all because I want you to see something. I'm going to rake this off here. See how that cheese is melted to that biscuit there and it's a little doughy, but
Yeah.
you open that up, it is a done deal. This is some of the best part to me. I do have you and Mage some biscuit. I do have not ideal where the duker is. Mage, you've been working the hardest today.
where's
You
the
get the
Duke?
biggest
He's
bite.
always working the
We
hardest.
thank y'all for tuning in. We never take it for granted. It is a great deal to have you. It is. We do love each and every one of you. But be sure and check out the website. The printable recipe is there. But also, there's all kinds of things. Like that
I bet
lid
the
lifter I
printable
was using
recipe's
today.
free.
It'll save you knuckles for sure. But it is with great pride, privilege, and honor that I tip my hat to all the servicemen and women and all the veterans that have kept that old flag flying over camp there. We commend you all. We do.
Yes, sir.
Rest of you, get on up in here. I ain't gonna wait long. I'm gonna eat this whole deal by myself. God bless you, each and every one, and I'm gonna see you down the Cowboy Casserole Trail. There's that little woodpecker bird. I don't mind him being in that tree, but I sure like to run him off the house. He a little bitty feller. If some of y'all know what kind of bird that is, tell me what it is. He got a hard little beak on him, but he's not like the red-headed woodpeckers we have in our country.
Ooh, some chicken and dumplings.
You know, we're saluting all those folks that went through the hard times. We're lifting up depression cooking because them folks did it all. What are we talking about? Classic chicken and dumplings. The
Yes.
best classic food and comfort food there's ever been.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Man, it looks...
I'm
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
classic comfort food, chicken
I
and dumplings.
love
Really,
chicken
my
and
dad said it was
dumplings,
more
man.
like a depression meal because there really wasn't a whole lot of chicken in there, but they could put a whole lot of dumplings in there, make a big pot of that, it would feed the whole family. And hey, it's still a classic today. It's something that I really think is probably one of the most traditional comfort foods that ever survived the Dust Bowl. To really bring out the most flavor in this dish, I think you need to get you some of them chicken thighs. Yeah, now you can find them with the skin on them, or you can find them with the skin
Chicken thigh
off.
meat's great.
Now, I probably, if I'm going to boil these,
Juicy,
and that's what we're
tender
going to
meat.
do, we need to skin these chickens right quick, and you can see that comes off there pretty quick. Now, also, look here, this is a bone. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to leave that bone in there because we're going to cook
More
that
flavor.
down too. It's going to bring out more flavor.
That's right.
Well, as you can see, the water is boiling. Now, some of them are already going to say, I can hear you out there, why didn't you just leave that skin on them? You'd have got more flavor. Well, sometimes you can do that. Hey, it don't make me no difference, but so just to please y'all, I'm going to put one of them in there with it, okay?
Look at that.
So you want to make sure you have enough water in there and get it to boiling that everybody gets covered. So that's what you call a lot of chicken for chicken and dumplings. We're going to cook this probably 10 to 15 minutes at a boil. Might not take quite that long, but you just want it to where it is fork tender and will shred easy. Well, you can see the sun has made it up over the barn because I can feel it hit me here on the side of the temple I can. But it is a beautiful morning here in camp, and let's talk about dumplings. Now, 3 cups of flour is where we're going to start. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar, which is exactly that amount.
Do you need cornstarch?
Some baking powder, which is real close. Be sure you check the date on that because it can expire and not be good. Oh, we have what you call a boiling action over here. Some
Watch
salt, which is about that much. Let's go ahead and mix that really well. And I want you to form a whale there in the middle for this here cackleberry to set. So go ahead and crack him in there and you'll see him laying in there oh so pretty. Yes, he is doing his job. It is. Get you a whisk, and I just need you just to whisk him lightly. See, there is no need in ruining another, I'm not saying ruin, but make another dish dirty. So you can whisk that egg right here in the middle. I once seen an old man on a ranch where I was staying one time set a 50-pound sack of flour there beside him and make 2 biscuits in it with eggs and milk and buttermilk, and you'd never know he was in there till he got through. So to that, I need you to add, and we need to measure this, folks, about a cup of buttermilk, 1 1/4 cups. So we're going to start with a cup. We're going to pour it right there where that egg was. White vinegar, if you can get the lid off. How much? Exactly 1 capful. Right there in the middle it goes. Everything has found its home. So now I need you to gently fold till we can get it all mixed in here. And this is going to make really a pretty shaggy dough. But I know we have made one mistake already, Shen. We have. Folks, we were supposed to have cut the butter into this before we put the liquid, but it will still work. So we're going to have to change this method up a little.
That's just
Be
a
right
texture
back.
thing.
Rewind. Now when you do that, folks, and you got the flour, the sugar, and everything in there, before you add the egg or the buttermilk, go ahead and cut the butter in. Now we just need to go back to working in here to where we can get this in a ball-like form. It don't take long for this to come into shape. So when you get this all made, you can see when we pull that apart there, it's pretty wet. You don't want this too dry, but we're going to keep working it to make sure that all that butter is incorporated in there well. You just need to, I'd say, knead this 15 or 20 times, not 15 or 20 minutes. I'm going to cover it with this bread helmet, and we're going to check the chicken and see if it is tender. Well, folks, we're going to bring one of them thighs out there and put him over here on this cutting board just to see, because I know that breast will be done before he is. I can tell you for sure right now, folks, do not think that, hey, we're going to discard that broth because we need to be saving some of that. You can go ahead and take them skins out of there if you got them laying in here loose. Look out, pups. Look out, look out, look out.
Oh,
got a
windy.
lot of help in the kitchen. Scoot just a little bit, mate. Scoot, scoot. Scoot just a little bit more. There you go. We need to pour that back over here because we're going to reserve about 6 cups of that broth to start out with. But you can see I done took me some carrots and with the handy dandy hash knife done chopped them up. Now my dad told me in the Dust Bowl, chicken and dumplings didn't have this portion. no vegetable. It never did have celery or carrots because it was hard to grow one when the dirt been blowing for like 5 years and there wasn't no water out there. So most of the time it was just chicken. But I do remember him telling the story that his mother made what? Jackrabbit and dumplings. Because folks, when you run out of chickens at that hen house when you're going over there all the time, and then next thing you know there ain't one, next thing come along gonna be jackrabbit. 6 cups of cream, and Shan said, oh, what? 6 cups of cream? Yeah. Hey, the chicken thief is here. But folks, my dad and them used to
I was wondering when that was going to happen.
Back then. They just go out there, you know, you pull that stool up under the 31 model, and it's, you know, you don't milk at the front end, you milk at the back end, pull the stool up in there, and then you just turn the knobs where the faucets come on, right? No, you got to do this method. Then they would strain that cream off there when things was looking pretty generous, and they would have cream and milk combined in the chicken and dumplings. So we got 6 cups of cream in there, and we're going to go ahead and just, hey, let's go for it. Let's put a whole stick of butter in there.
That's right.
I think you got to have it. Now I want you to put this on medium heat because that cream can scorch if you've got that flame just blazing, licking around the sidewalls there. So 6 cups of chicken broth. So there's 1, 2. Let's go ahead and let's get them carrots and that celery in there, because folks, we need that to be able to go ahead and cook and get tender. We're going to give it a little original seasoning because we're going to need a little bit of that salt in there. So give it a little sprinkling of that.
Yep.
I mean, you could just go ahead and just warm that up and have it for breakfast right there. That'd probably be good for you. Now we're going to get back to shredding this chicken. So you can do it with your hands. You see when you cook that chicken right, it's not too dry, because when you boil it too long, it'll get so dry and tough that you can't pull it apart. You have had yours. You stole what was going to be shared with the other puppies. So no, I don't think so. So go ahead, get your chicken. You can chop it, shred it, tear it, whatever you want to do to it. No.
Damn,
get down.
Got to kick him off the set.
Since we have some loyal subjects up here, Sadie has not been in timeout any today. Let's give a hand to Sade. What do you think? We have no idea where Duker is. And Duker, if you didn't know,
like
you rewind and watch a video that come out the week before this one. On the taquitos, Duker got in a skunk. There you go, Big. You done had some. That's the Meiji.
He's going to get it. He's going to get it.
Quit. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can get this monstrosity of chicken meat in there. Remember what I told you? Why look for chicken and dumplings when you know it's going to be there? 2 chicken breasts and 4 thighs? Folks, I'm talking we finna have a whole bunch of goodness right here in camp. Y'all didn't get the invitation, did you? Well, I wish you had it, because we'd sure feed you. Make sure you don't leave nobody out. We need all the flavor we can get. We're going to slide him back over here. And a lot of you might be asking that question, why wouldn't you do that in all them Dutch ovens you got? Well, folks, I don't like to boil a milk-based substance in a Dutch oven, because it can really scorch easy in there, because that cast iron gets quite a bit hotter than this little thin-walled pot, and it keeps that heat. So it'll scorch in there and it'll burn, and ain't nothing worse than a burnt bean unless it's burnt milk. We're going to keep an eye on it, stir it occasionally, and probably going to cook it probably pretty close to about 15 minutes. We want that celery and them carrots to get good and tender, but that chicken to spread that love all the way throughout. And then we're going to go to dropping them dumplings in there. Home run time.
Nice.
So let's get our biscuit dough back out here. You can see, hey, everything is just right. Now you can use a rolling pin, or you can just flatten it with your hands, whatever you choose to do. Me, I'm just going to use the Major method today. You want to walk on it, Mage? Huh? You look bad. Your mustache is wet. Whose looks the best? I think mine might look better than yours, Mage. I don't know.
Oh no, his pretty good.
When we're pulling off a piece, it's going to sort of be about like that.
Is pretty solid.
And this thing is going to plump up a little. It's what we're going to call a dumpling. I would say that's probably a 1/2 inch thick and maybe like, I don't know, tablespoon size. You can form them into a ball. I've seen people make them every way. My dad, when they said going through the Dust Bowl, when they would have some dumplings,
shapes. Sometimes,
a lot of times they'd be red in color. So
sometimes you want to get like a big piece. Sometimes little pieces are good bites with the chicken, but if you got a little less chicken, you want a big dumpling. Absolutely.
Of them. You know why? Because all that dirt done drifted in that flour sack, settled. You could sift it, but you still ain't gonna get all that out of it. Now, for our Patreon folks there, we have done a whole deal about really the conditions in which the country that I cooked in and what the old timers went through just to get through it. So be sure and check that out. It's a great story. It's about the Dust Bowl and the integrity that them people had. And I guarantee you, if they had this dish today, they'd be thinking, I can make it another 5 years. Biscuit dumplings, look at them right there. You can smell that butter in there. And folks, you got that there where it's just simmering along, bubbling right up. Shan said, you think you can get all them in there? I said, I don't know. We're going to get it till we can't get the lid on it no more. Because one thing that I always remembered when I used to make chicken and dumplings a lot of time, you had a lot of broth, but you always run out of chicken and you always run out of dumplings. So don't just dump them in there. I need you to scatter them out. That way they don't cling together. And then about every 10th or 11th one, let's go ahead and give it a stir. Then we're going to put a lid on there. We're going to let them simmer about 5 minutes. Then we're going to thicken it with some cornstarch and water. And then what we're going to do? We're going to eat it. I mean, it's going to be good. So let's do the dumpling dive in. What do you say?
Yeah, dump them in, buddy. That looked good. The ones that survived.
Tip my hat right
Take
off
a
the
bite
bat
out of that.
to all them old timers that I ever knew, to all them folks, and you might have had some of them too that went through that depression, that Dust Bowl, and times was lean, food was scarce. Hey, y'all give me grit, you did, and I appreciate each one of you. But folks, have you seen this creation? I mean, have you seen the size of them dumplings?
Oh.
Thank you, Jesus. I mean,
Yeah,
thank you
hallelujah.
so much. The memories that come flooding back through there from all the times my mother would fix this dish on a Sunday after church. In the wintertime, summertime, springtime, you can't go wrong. It's what we call the right time. It's
Yeah,
the
get it?
dumpling time.
Don't dance around the chicken thief.
I be loving me some dumplings, might you? You seen me right there at the end. Mix some cornstarch, cold water, pour it in there. Make sure
Yep.
it is boiling or simmering before you do, and thicken it. Now,
Knew you
'cause,
needed some
folks,
cornstarch.
I like for that broth to be thicker than that heavy cream was. Well, we hope y'all enjoyed, because Kent really enjoyed, as you can tell. It is an old classic, a recipe that has been through the test of time, that will always get you through the thick and thin. And folks, that's pretty cheap eating right there. It is. You can go to that grocery store and come out ahead on this kind of deal. We appreciate you, we do. But as always, and it is with honor and great pride that I tip my hat to all the servicemen and women and all the veterans who have kept that flag flying back there
Yes,
over
sir.
camp, and to the rest of y'all. Remember last week I told you y'all was family. We mean that, because you are. Be sure and share the videos with everybody you know, because folks, we need to help everybody feel better. Give us a like on the channel. God bless you each and every one, and I'll see you down the best chicken and dumpling trail you ever seen in your life. Look at this mustache.
Uh-oh.
And then look at mine. You know mine looks better than yours. You know it does.
get
Look at the
ornery.
camera. Folks will tell you. Don't be grumpy. Don't be grumpy.
What's his name? Major? Alright. Chicken pot pie.
Hey, so you went to the grocery store and you went down the frozen food aisle and you seen the Marie calendars. Slap that hand. You don't need that. No, we're making chicken pot pie the homemade way with smoked chicken and so
Oh
much
my
goodness, topped off
goodness.
with a crispy pie crust. Come on, Marie will forgive you for this. Hey, thank y'all for stopping by Under the Barn. And on this week's episode, what are we talking about? An old classic that has come around, been in the freezer, been everywhere. What? Marie Callender would be proud. We are talking the chicken pot pie. Now, I hear some of you out there already saying, everybody know how to buy a chicken pot pie. You go down the aisle till you get to the frozen food section. You jerk out the little box that says Marie Callender. You take them home, put them in the oven. I am going to tell people on y'all. We are going to make it, and we're going to step it up about 14 notches on the flavor ladder we are, because we're talking about spatchcocking this chicken that's going in there and putting him on that hasty bake on the indirect side and letting him get some smoke. I mean, some good flavor. So it is going to be good, and give that pot pie some flavor with a flaky, oh my gosh, crispy crust on top that come off the video that we is on with what? The caramel apple pie. So that'll be up there, so I know you'll enjoy it. But folks, I don't get a lot of opportunity to cook chicken. I don't see many running around here. Why did the chicken cross the road, Shen? To keep from getting run over in the ditch by the rooster that was driving the truck. That's why he crossed the road. Yes, some. But on ranches, they always thought, this is a beef outfit. You can't be cooking chicken on a beef outfit. So there was ways that I could get around it. Some of them old timers would be guessing, I wonder what that guy's cooking tonight. So one time we had chicken and dumplings. We did. But they didn't know it was chicken. I said, caught these quail today out here in this quail trap I did. They're a little big, but I chopped them up and we're having quail and dumplings. They thought it was the best thing ever. I didn't tell them till about 5 years later. They didn't fire me, but they said, hey, this is a beef outfit. We're going to eat beef. Now, folks, we're talking about chicken, and we got a wooden board here, and what's going to happen, Shan? A trick I learned a long time ago, and I think it works really well, because we're not actually doing a whole lot of cutting on this chicken, as we're just wanting to protect the surface that we're working with. If you don't have one of them little white plastic boards that you can turn over that is reversible, white on one side, green on the other, something like that, get your cutting board out, wrap it up shiny like it's a brand new present under that Christmas tree, and look what we got, a cutting board with a raincoat. Set your chicken down to where your chicken looks comfortable, and let's get some exercise going. Work it, work it, work it, work it. Exercise. No? Now, we're talking about spatchcocking, and we need this chicken to sort of lay flat.
What is a spatchcock chicken?
Well, you take an axe and you cut him right down the middle right here, break the breastbone, clip off the wing tips, and he's going to lay flatter when your cook time is going to be quicker, because it is not as much surface for the heat to penetrate. Now, a lot of people are going to take a pair of scissors, and I'm going to show you right here, come down that backbone all the way and just cut that out. Now, you can split it right down the backbone and do the same thing, or you can just take your good old knife and just cut right down that backbone and just get him chopped up down through there all the way to the other end. Go ahead and put your fingers in there where you can feel that backbone, and you can see him there, and just come right back over on the other side of it, cut through them ribs. Go ahead and cut right down through here for that neck, because all this is what we call going to the beagle here after a while. Now, do not think you be throwing this away. This is a good thing to be what? Making some chicken stock out of. That broth is some of that good. All right, now I need you to take these wings.
Where'd Big go?
He's over here eyeballing this. Have you been rolling in the grass? Can you get a close-up of this? Big has got a natural thing going on here, and I don't know really what it is.
Camouflaged.
So, need you to cut the tips off them wings. You can just chop him right there. You can even cut him here. Why are we doing that? Because if we leave them on there, it's sort of holding that chicken up. He's trying to do what you would call in yoga the plank position before you do the cobra and rise up. I be knowing me some yoga, I do. So cut this one off. Then
he's always got like a
take
crazy
your hand.
catchphrase.
You can do it from the front, from the back. I just need you to get this to where you can feel that breastbone crack. And it did. So now we have a flat surface chicken.
Crack the hell out of
This is sort of like the chicken that got run over in the road. This chicken is flat now, right, Shan?
That's right.
So, get you some paper towels, because we need to, first of all, dry this chicken really well. Make sure it is dry everywhere. Don't be messing up that skin, because we need it to stay on there. So we got our chicken dry. We got the hasty bake full of Fogo charcoal on one end only. Been burning about 25 minutes, so them coals is good and hot. Fogo, you say, is charcoal. Yeah, ooh, some of the best there is, big old lump stuff. And today we're going to mix with what? A little bit of apple and a little bit of mesquite. So while we got him on this side right here, let's just go ahead and give him a greasing. Why, you say, does he need the greasing? Well, he needs this so that seasoning will adhere to this chicken better. Go ahead and make sure he gets really well, because if you get in the tanning bed, you're gonna put on some oil, ain't you, Shan? We finna tan this chicken up. We are. This is a pretty pale looking chicken, so we're gonna try to keep it from burning. Just make sure everybody gets some of that. If I'm gonna cook a chicken that's gonna go in a chicken pot pie,
Dust it up.
I am gonna use what? Chicken pot pie mesquite seasoning. Really, it just says mesquite, but if you can't get it, you know where to find it. It's on the website. I'm sure Andy will pop it right up there. And the recipe will be there as well. Give it a generous pattern. And folks, this is sort of like a big old steak. A lot of folks ain't gonna season it enough.
Yeah, you literally gotta
Here we go.
coat it. Yeah, flip it.
Right there like that.
Dress it up.
Everybody gets some of that good flavor of that mesquite seasoning. And if you be liking these kind of videos like this where we go really into detail, give me a like down there, but always, I need you to comment on something that was always a pretty big thing when we were little. After Sunday church, there was it's most time fried chicken that we raised the chicken. And there was different people that got different parts of the chicken. How come did the little kids never get a choice? I got a chicken leg all my life till I was like 20. I don't like a chicken leg. I wanted some of that good white meat to go there, or a thigh. But did y'all ever hear of the pulley bone? You think about that, and if you did, leave us a comment down there, because it was one of our favorites. So I'll meet y'all over at the fire, and I'll show you how we're going to place this chicken on there. Oh, hasty bake is fired up, and it's a little chilly today, so actually it feels pretty good. Now folks, y'all seen me use this hasty bake Y'all seen me use this hasty bake a long time. And to me, it's probably one of the best grills I've ever owned in my life, because it's so portable. I can take it here, take it there. And hey, guess what? Good folks there, Rich and all them folks, they'll have you a link down there below to where you can get 10% off this model right here. But fires here ain't none here. What do you call that, Shan?
Indirect.
There ain't no fire on this end. One of the two. So take the little chicken, pick him up, put him right down here on this end. So with indirect heat and the chicken on this end, we're probably going to run pretty close to about 240 to 260 along in there temperature-wise. That's degrees Fahrenheit.
Slow
it is.
cooking.
And we're going to go probably around 45 minutes to an hour to where when we can probe that chicken, he's at least at 165. Then we'll take him off, wrap him to where he just sits there and sort of climbs his little temperature on up, but also to where he gets eventually cool enough that we can shred that chicken. So I'm going to sit and guard the fire because the big and them love some chicken. So I'll check y'all back in later and we'll make us some pie dough.
Some chicken.
Well, we've been on 1 hour exactly. We have. I checked the chicken. He is at 169 degrees. He's worked up a sweat, so let's get him off there. And ain't he a pretty sight? He is. If he don't fall apart getting over here. Now I want you to just look at that little chicken. Ain't that a fine looking specimen of a bird it is? And we're just gonna let that chicken just sit right there, mind its own business, and cool off to where we can shred it. But in the meantime, I got the field skillet over here, and we're gonna saute us some what? Carrots and white onions. Now, as we go through this recipe, some of you are gonna say, that is not a traditional pot pie because he didn't put any green peas in there. We're going to use a variety of vegetables, or what they might call
if you don't use
a medley.
green peas.
We have 8 ounces of some of them there mushrooms. I really do like them. They are some fine dining, they are. Give them a little stir, and we got a pretty good base going on here for some happiness, don't we, Mage? And you look so good after your brand new haircut I give you. Oh my gosh, you're so sharp. We're going to let that cook just a minute, then we're going to add the garlic because I don't like to put that garlic in there too early because garlic can burn. But keep an eye on your chicken. Don't let the beagle get on it or the chicken will be gone. Well, while that there was cooking, I done went so fast I done shredded the chicken. Well, y'all seen it there, I did. And I'm going to tell you this, don't hurt my feelings and say, I ain't going to that much trouble. I'm just going to go down there and buy me some canned chicken. Don't let me know it, huh?
Or rotisserie rotisserie.
Yes, rotisserie is not as bad as canned. They're pretty good. I like rotisserie. So this is all good to go. The mushrooms have browned up. We got to have a thickening agent that's going to take place here. So what are we talking about? Some flour, yes. And just sprinkle it evenly across there. I want you to use about a half of it, get it stirred in, and then we'll add the other half to it. And we're on about medium heat. You want to make sure you don't burn that flour. Next, I want you to give it a sprinkling of thyme. Don't take much, it don't. I want you to add some chicken broth, 2 cups. Just pour it all around there. Things is gonna happen pretty quick. Now, when we started this recipe with a stick of butter, Shan said these bad words to me. Do we have to use that much butter? Oh my gosh, that's gonna be too much. Well, guess what, Shan? We finna break out some heavy cream too, sugar. We're gonna use about 3/4 we are, which is about pretty close to that much. Go ahead and run her back over. Now go to stirring again. And we're just going to let that sit there and simmer till everybody is good and happy. Keep stirring. Remember, medium heat.
How long are you cooking it for?
I'll have to look. Remember when I told you we was leaving them peas out there? What we talking about? Corn. Frozen corn. It's good and cold, it is. Go ahead and put you 1.5 cups in there. Fresh parsley. Now you're saying they had fresh parsley but no fresh thyme. I can't get over it neither, folks, so I don't know what to tell you. About 1/2 cup shredded chicken.
That's a boatload.
That is what you call a full house. Yeah, as I was telling you folks, some of you be looking at that thinking, what's he gonna do with that? Feed it all to the pups. Peel that crispy skin off there and save it right to the last. We're gonna chop it, and right before we put that top crust on that chicken pot pie, we're just gonna sprinkle that good smoky crispy crust right over the top of it. But remember folks, there is a link right up there to the caramel apple pie video that we did, and this pie crust is in it. It is so easy and got so much butter in it, so tasty. Flour you a board or a surface, whatever you got. Find you a rolling pin or a, what do we call it? A husband trainer. Give it a little sprinkle of flour everywhere, and let's just go to rolling because it's gonna make 2 pie crusts. And folks, we need them to be big enough to come up that 12-inch Dutch oven that we're using today. Now, if you ain't got a 12-inch Dutch oven and you don't want to cook it in that, but you got a 12-inch cast iron skillet, just like that field we was using right there, hey, it'll work. Just make sure your pie crust is big enough that it comes up the sides. Well, the pie crust is in there. Now, if you want to do this in a pie plate that you have, make sure it is like a 10 to 12 inch so you can roll that crust plumb up the side and then crimp it over. And I know you be thinking, this is way too much filling for this pie. No, I like to mound it up in the middle so when it's cooking, it comes out, it's sort of like this. Just mash her down in there really well against that crust. Full house it is. You can see there is a lot of stuff going on over there. Remember I told you this crispy skin on there goes right on the top. And this will feed, I'd say, maybe 6 people or 2 beagles. Now, I'm gonna set this back over here. We gotta roll that pie crust out for the top, then we'll go to baking it in that Dutch oven. Now, you've seen us go ahead and roll the top of that pie crust out, lay it on there, and crimp it down to that bottom crust best you can. Now, in a 12-inch skillet, that's a whole lot easier to do because this thing is gonna be mounded up, gonna be oh so good. But remember, cut you some vent holes in there all the way around that pie crust because if you don't, it's going to blow that top off of it. It is because there's so much flavor in there. Egg wash it all the way around. We're using a trivet and a Dutch oven today, but if you're going to cook this in the house, 425 degrees for about 25 to 35 minutes along in there or till golden brown on top. Then let it cool, slice the goodness, and call us all. We'll be over.
I'm looking forward to this. Major. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, be careful now.
That is a good looking piece of chicken pot pie right there it is. And folks, really the trick to cooking one in a Dutch oven, you can see the top of it, you can. But you can go back on our cast iron playlist and check this out. But when you can mash the edge of that pie crust and it doesn't go down anymore, that bottom is set. What it's trying to tell you is, hey, that's near done on the bottom. And that's the way we want it because it's gonna hold residual heat. That's what good cast iron does. So when you can pull it up there and you can see that that crust doesn't give anymore, jerk it off there, hey, it is good to go. You can always cook something a little more if it ain't done, but what?
She said, let's eat it.
Let's eat.
Quit talking.
Sade has got to where she has done really well in videos, so we're gonna let you eat first.
That's
have a little
true.
of that pie crust.
The
Oh my
beagle,
gosh,
on the
ain't
other
it
hand.
amazing?
Is that good, Sadie?
There is the big Duke. Duke just woke up from a nap. Here is the mage under here. Yep, there's the mage. Come here, little Duker.
Duker's here.
There we go. Everybody got some. Folks, I hope you can hear it. Did you hear that, Shan? That crunch that is there, cut right on through there. Look at all that goodness. Corn, the
that's a
parsley,
big
the
bite.
chicken. I can see me some of them carrots in there. Praise the Lord and pass the chicken pot pie. Yeah, we're gonna do the chicken dance. Whew. Well, we hope y'all enjoyed this because me and the pups and Shan sure did. And we never take it for granted that you watch our videos. And Sade says, hey, pass the chicken pot pie. Would you need another bite? I mean, my gosh, you used to never show up about half the time.
Yeah, she's
That is a
been
good girl, Sade. As always, I tip my hat and I thank our veterans and all the servicemen and women that have kept that old flag a flying over the camp to keep us all safe and sound. We have. And for the rest of you, I really do thank y'all too, because this channel would not be possible without y'all. Y'all are what we call a family. And hey, I hope you make this chicken pot pie, share it with the neighbors and all the good friends around you, because what did Mr. Rogers say? Make more chicken pot pie and take it to the neighbors. I think that's what he said anyway. God bless you one of all. Come on in here and I'll see you down the homemade smoked chicken pot pie trail. We need to leave that in the bloopers, Andy. That's Shan's famous chicken call.
Back in my chicken calling days.
Let me see if I don't see none coming.
No chickens.
Here comes Duke. Duke,
Oh, Duker.
are you chicken, Duke? He said, I like chicken. Hey, you be pushing that basket down that cart. Phew, that is wrong. We have launched some new apparel, some t-shirts, sweatshirts. We got you fixed up, so be sure and check them out. If you like this video and you like to see them frozen dinners sort of recreated in a better way, well, hey, be sure and watch our what? Salisbury steak. Hungry man dinner. Ooh, we got it all from the Salisbury steak to the brownie. So don't forget to watch that. You'll be glad you did.
Chuck Wagon Trail Stew.
Hey, in this week's episode, we are backing the wagon up, plumb back in history we are, and going down the trail with old Cookie, making what? Some cowboy chuck wagon trail stew, and oh my gosh, the flavors in there are so good. The meat's so tender. Come on, I'll save you a seat there in the wagon and we'll drive down there together. Hey, thank y'all for stopping by camp on a beautiful afternoon it is. I just got through with a 4.5 hour nap there in the teepee. It was really nice. But whoo-wee, what are we talking about today? Chuck Wagon Trail Stew is what I call it. It's something that old Cookie would have fixed so many years going down the trail, 1870s to about really the 1890s before the cattle drive played out. Now we're going to doctor it up just a little, but it's pretty traditional as to what Cookie would have had. So hearty, so good for you, and that cold weather makes me want a bowl right now because it's pretty chilly out here today. So I hope y'all watched our breakfast quesadilla video because there was some important things happening there. Not only was it good grub, but the good folks at Ariat sponsored what? 2 $100 gift certificates, and I'm the winner. No, I'm not the winner. Okay. Folks, they always keep me looking sharp, and they do a lot for us. And you can go down there below, click the little link that says Cowboy Kent's Favorites, and they can have you looking good. But what about them two $100 winners, Shen? You think it is? Who are the winners? Mage, could we have a drum roll? No? Mage says he forgot to bring the drum. He did. Well, Glenn Richmond, he has always been a loyal subscriber, he has. And I don't know if this is Two Mindy, Tom Indy, but that's his username. A longtime subscriber, over 6.5 years he is. And hey, we just thank y'all so much for tuning in and watching. And folks, you better watch all of them, because you never know when we might throw something else back in there for you to get. So what are we talking about? Trail stew. Let's get after it. Going down the trail, Cookie riding up in that old wagon seat, when a lot of times they was making 14, 15 miles a day, he'd have to really put them mules or horses in a jig. What is a jig? Get them in a fast trot, get them on up the trail to where what? He could fix supper, because stew need to simmer, I would say at least 2 hours before everything to get really good and tender. The beef old Cookie had going down the trail so many times with some of that old Longhorn, and hey folks, they've changed a lot of their breeding from the time Cookie took them to what they got now. Them things are walking so far going up the trail to Abilene, Kansas to catch that railroad, they was sort of like beef jerky at times. But old Cookie, this was a treat to them cowboys, because what? Biscuits, beans, and coffee. That was nearly every day. So if he could go on up there and get ahead and get that old pot of stew on there to simmering along, and folks, there was an old famous recipe that come along from an old chuck wagon trail so many years ago called Son of a Gun Stew. Now, you can look it up. It's got 53,000 different ingredients that old Cookie might have put in there, and he used every piece of beef that he could find, from the tongue to the hock. So it is a lot of stuff in it, but it was traditional. It is something that he had. But to start...
Well, I have a question, because we get this a lot. Did cowboys eat a lot of beef on the trail?
Did cowboys eat a lot of beef on the trail? Not unless he fell dead on the trail.
The cowboy?
No. The cow. Really, it wasn't the cow. Well, it could have been an old cow or a steer. You know, that beef was going to market. In South Texas at the time, that beef might have bring $14 a head. But if we could get him to Abilene, Kansas, up that Chisholm Trail, get him on that railroad car, let him go to Chicago or New York City, we're talking as much as nearly $41 a head. A little different than it is today, it is. But back then, folks, that was a lot of money. So beef was not made to eat on the trail. Sadie said, it's made for beef to eat today, ain't it, Sadie?
Sadie's
yes.
back.
So this is why I don't think they eat much beef. Sure, there was some dried beef that old Cookie could pack and take with him too. But a lot of times too, some of their stew meat may have substituted as wild game, deer, elk, rabbit, stuff like that, even rattlesnake. Oh my gosh, rattlesnake. But to start out with today, we got about a 3.5 pound chuck roast, and we got a pound of bacon. First of all, I need you to take that pound of bacon, let me move this Dutch oven over there, and just go ahead and dice it up. Now it is beef stew, but folks, you gotta have bacon in something every once in a while just to bring out a little more flavor, and we just need that little extra dab of grease that bacon's gonna bring to it as well. But remember, there was no noon meal going down the trail. I don't ever remember that anybody ever told me a story that the cowboys all stopped at noon and went through the drive-up window at McDonald's. No. They was lucky did Cookie say, hey, you better put that biscuit in your pocket today. It's going to be a long one before you get back for supper time. And you never knew what time supper time was. Cows don't wear a watch. They don't care what time it is. They be going off down through there and think, hey, this will be a good time to run off, make everybody late for supper. Because it was some desperate times at times, and it was some hard times, but I guarantee you, them guys are just like we are today. We wouldn't have traded it for nothing in the world. Sadie, does this suit you, the bacon cutting up in this procedure? So, the star of the show, what are we talking about? A chuck roast. Now, you could use arm roast, you could use a pot roast, you could use eye round roast, whatever you got. You could even use a neck roast. Old Cookie was happy just to see a roast come along. Now, it's got a road map in it where we're going to cut and do all this and try to separate that muscle to where everything remains tender. So just follow that line right on down here.
Are there any other specific cuts, like of wild game, that you would recommend?
If I was out there on the trail and say old Cookie and them boys was going up through there and they run, because it happened at times, run onto a big old herd of buffalo and somebody was to knock one down with one of them old lever actions. And what? Get out there and get that buffalo hump, get that good meat off the hind quarter, something like that, and just go ahead and go to making stew meat out of it. Because folks, hey, they had to get by with what they had, but buffalo, elk, Deer, it makes good stew, it does. But don't forget that other stuff like rabbit and squirrel, because I bet you old Cookie used it going down the trail. You can see the grain of this meat is sort of going this way, so we're going to cut and then cut in half. We're going to put it all in this little blue bowl. No, Dookie, the blue bowl is not for you. Let me get her chunked up. We'll get to baking this on the fire. We have got the burner on high, as y'all can see. It is highly up here in my eyebrows, it is. But the bacon has browned up a little. Be careful not to burn all your fingers. Go ahead and put him in the stew pot right there itself. Now, old Cookie might have cooked this in a Dutch oven. And some of you be thinking, well, why didn't you do that in a Dutch oven today? Because that's lighter and I can lift it and run quicker. But hey, the old bean pot been around a long time, it has. So we'll get this bacon in there, and if any hits the ground, don't y'all worry about it, because I have a lot of good taste testers here that'll pick it up. Well, you seen me chuck the meat up, and then what? Went over and got me 2 or 3 handfuls of flour. Incorporate it well. You say, why are we flouring it if we're going to put it in a stew? The flour is going to help sort of bind some of this together, but also as a thickening agent as it cooks. I seasoned this with some of our original seasoning, but if you ain't got some and you can't get none today, get you some salt, pepper, little garlic powder, you'll be fixed up. So go ahead and just ease her in there. Don't be trying to get none of that grease splattered up on your fingers. And Sadie keeps thinking that there's something in that tree, Mom. Sadie, she says there might be a bear up there that she's got treed. We need to brown this, as Shan would say, halfway done. So keep her stirred around. You can't just run off and leave it. If there wasn't enough bacon grease left in there that you need, put you a little vegetable oil, a little lard, something in there to go with it to where you can keep that meat stirred and keep it browning. Well, I'm sitting down on the job, I am. Meat has got what I'd call just right browned up. Oh my gosh, that is hot, folks. The meat has ready to go in the pot, it is. Make sure you try to get all them good crumbs off the bottom. And what do you do that with if you ain't glazing with white wine and got one of them what you call fond? You get a mesquite spatula. They work wonders, because you can see we ain't hurting our seasoning none. But we're loosening all that up on the bottom. Get you a good spoon. While y'all wasn't watching, I put about 32 ounces of beef broth in there, I did, because we're gonna need it. Go ahead and get that meat, and you can hear that that pot is getting hot because there is some seasoning going on, but my gosh, my boot is getting hot as well. So we're gonna get it up here instead of standing it by Christine there. To this same Dutch oven that we are getting this meat out of, to get the maximum amount out of them onions, instead of just throwing it right in there and saying we're gonna put some onions in there, what? We're gonna let them have a little time in that there meat grease with that bacon fat that's rendered off there. Put it over here and let them brown up a little, and to that we're going to add another edible ingredient we are, called mushroom. I hear you say, really? Cookie found some mushrooms? I'm sure he did if they passed by some of them cedar trees. Maybe it was some of them morel mushrooms that was growing just right. Them things is oh so good. You keep an eye on the onion, Shan, and I'll get to go over and chop up the garlic, and I'll meet y'all back at the fire. Well, to the onions, we put about 4 garlic cloves, minced them right in there, give it a stir, put them in last, because you're gonna let them onions cook 4 or 5 minutes to where they get sort of translucent. But here come them shrooms, they are, about 8 ounces of them they was. Now we're gonna let them cook for just a minute, and then we're gonna add a little flour sprinkle back in there, because we're gonna wanna thicken this broth up even some more as it cooks. So just let them onions sit in there like they are, and add them shrooms, and let everything get a little browning action to it. And then we'll sprinkle that flour on there like when? Like right now. So just give it a little, Big, watch out there. I don't know which way it's going.
Wind took it all.
For y'all, those might be guessing the wind is out of the southwest, so that's be pretty good. And you can let them mushrooms just get coated good with that flour. Just don't sprinkle it all right in the same place. And just let her come to a slow little cook in there. Well, the shrooms and the onions have cooked up nice. That flour give them a good coating. Just go ahead and dump them over in there, because we're gonna need all that flavor. And now going down the trail, old Cookie would have probably maybe had some pinto beans, and that's about it that he'd have put in there to go with that. But I told you we was gonna fancy this up a little. So I like to combine the flavors of what? Some kidney beans along with some hominy, because folks, hominy's been around forever and ever, and y'all do know how they make hominy, right, Shan?
I don't even know what
It's
hominy
soaked in
is.
lye.
Yes, and a lot of times they would just also cook that lye and that hominy down in a charcoal tree limb. I mean, just an old trunk that had been sitting there, fill it full of water because it got that charcoal in there, that old black residue that's left. Boil that corn down there to where it swells up, and then you strain it around and get after it. But hey, you can't go wrong with that. Let me get this out of the way. And if y'all have told me time after time, can you make anything without putting jalapenos in it? Folks, it's really been hard. It has. But today is y'all's lucky day because I'm not going to put no jalapenos in there. Wood cookie? Yeah, I hit one over at them dried peppers that we showed you on that video, and there'll be a link right up there above to all them peppers that we love to use. And he'd have tore off some of them guajilos, them chili de balls, cascaveles. He'd have crumbled them all in there. But for y'all, I'm going to tame it down. I'm going to use me some rotel tomatoes. Now, y'all know what them are? Some people don't have them readily available in their grocery stores. Diced green chilies and tomatoes. But also, if y'all ain't gonna let me have no jalapenos, we gotta have some hatch green chilies. It just ain't gonna work if you ain't got them. So let me go ahead, but one other thing I need to tell you about, tomato sauce. It's always in every soup or stew that comes along, or stewed tomatoes, pardon me. But old Cookie, he probably wouldn't have had that unless he had some old dried tomatoes or something like that that he could incorporate to put back in there. So let me get it all in there, we'll be good to go. So, if they'd restocked the wagon and they'd come across the Red River right there on the Chisholm Trail going north, there was an old store there. What was it called?
Some people like to go extra with
So all them wagons, they try to stock up, and old Cookie, if he got there before everybody else that come before him on the drive, and he'd get him some taters if he could, because he needed him some taters for some stew.
Need taters.
And if anybody had any carrots, he'd have grabbed them too. But before we put that in there, something old Cookie might not have had, some of that Justin Wilson Lee and Perrons, because I guarantee you that stuff is going to be good.
You know, your
you
boy
gotta have it
Jerry
in
likes
there.
some
How
Lee
much?
and Perrons.
The right amount. Y'all know that by now.
Take my belt off.
So,
Cut me
we had
up.
4 russet potatoes and some carrots. Just chunked them up there. In they go. Now, my daddy used to tell me when you could make a stew, you could fill it full of carrots and tomatoes and use half as much meat and nobody'd ever know the difference. Well, folks, you ain't gonna have no trouble finding the meat in this. And I remember we seasoned that meat right there at the first. We did. We went ahead and got that with that flour coating. But let's give it another sprinkling of original to season them taters up and them carrots just a little. And we're gonna put it on what we would call a slow walk. A slow walk, you say? That's what I heard old Cookie say one time when I was cooking with some folks. And the old fellow that used to cook, he said, "You got that on a slow walk there, Button?" And y'all are asking yourself, Button? What is a button? Well, a button is not only something that goes on a shirt, but it is someone who is quite a bit younger than the guy that he's talking to. And that's why they called him a button. And a slow walk is a simmer. So now y'all know all the cowboy terminology that I know. We'll get her to going, and you can see this is pretty thick, but it's pretty concentrated. So what? We're gonna add some water. How much? Just exactly that much right there. And you can see now everything is covered. It's just like when you're making beans, and we've told you so many times, if you're gonna have to add water or broth back to this, go ahead and bring it over to the fire, keep it hot, so when you pour it in there, you ain't got that problem to where it slows it down and it cooks evenly throughout. You're gonna cook this probably over, if you're at the house, like a medium-low fire, maybe medium. Here it's pretty hard to judge what we got going. It's either licking your eyebrows or not hardly at all. But now is when the time to when you put in some bay leaves, because we need them in there for the flavor. Go ahead and cover this, put it on, like I say, a slow walk, and let her cook maybe about an hour to hour and 30 minutes, and everything, just when the meat sort of gets fork tender and that all them flavors have blended together.
Somebody makes music for him. That looks good.
Ooh, Can y'all smell it? Let me help you out. Lou says I can smell it. Well, folks, I ain't gonna just dive right in there to that. Y'all seen me do too many of them before to where it stick to the roof of your mouth and you can't talk for about a week. But I dug out 4 pieces of little beef for my good helpers today. And Lou, come on, sugar, you're right here handy. There you go. There is the duker.
Duker.
No, say that is the dukers. Here is the bigs. And where is the mage? Always got to look for you.
Major.
Good job, mage. Okay, everybody done a good job. No, that's it. That's all you get, I promise. I thank you, pups, for helping me out. Next thing you know, you be jumping the rope, skipping a song, and I'm gonna stay. Because I can't go no more. I'm gonna come back up here and get me another bite of this because, woo-wee, that was some fine dining, and I got all this good help that has been here with me. They have done a glorious job, they have. Thank y'all for taking time out of your busy day to stop by camp and watch our videos. We never take it for granted, we don't. And everything that we used in this video will be listed down there in the little link below, or you can get over there to the tap and go what? KentRollins.com. Hit up there on the recipes tab. It'll take you to all of them. There's so many there I can't count them, but this will be there too. As always, I tip my hat to all our servicemen and women and all the veterans that have kept that old flag of flying. No matter where we may be, I appreciate you one and all, and may you stay safe. For the rest of you, get on in here. You know it's fitting to happen. We're going to have a big old hug, and guess what? God bless you each and every one, and I'll see you down the Cowboy Trail Chuck Wagon Stew. She says, I know there is. Y'all don't have that keen sense of hearing. It's a grasshopper. But we've put in some, I don't know what the word is. But, oh my gosh, we're not doing that part of it, we are. Sometimes I get brain for it. We have launched some new apparel, some t-shirts, sweatshirts. We got you fixed up, so be sure and check them out.
Get your gear.